Good afternoon from beautiful Brisbane, Australia, and welcome to Healing from Complex PTSD. My name is Linda, and we're here today to talk about how when we have complex trauma and we're in business and even in our day to day life, every time we go to do something new in our business, fear comes up and it's paralyzing. And we were talking about this today in supervision. And I really want for you as an online coach to be able to recognize what's happening with the fear, recognizing where it's being driven from, and also to give you the tools so that you can begin to take one next step in your business. Now, as we talked about it in supervision, we had a bit of a joke, and I said, we need to be known as Scaredy Cat Supervision because we're all here and we're doing supervision, and the fears come up in each part of our business. But we were mucking around. We're really warriors because we turn up despite the fear. So if we can acknowledge that every step we take in recovery, and especially in relation to our business, there's going to be fear involved. It helps take away even a part of the fear. We know that it's not just us. This happens to each and every one of us. And it's because we're doing something new. We've never done this before in our life. We've never had it laid down in the formation of our brain of this is how you do a business and this is the one next step you take. And yeah, it's going to work out. We've never had any of that happen for us. So this is why we go to supervision and we work through these things. We have also a challenge to say, I'm afraid. Okay. It's a challenge to say, I'm afraid, because in our own mind, we're saying, but I shouldn't be afraid because I'm an adult. And this doesn't make sense. Why I'm afraid to even just type into my website so that I can get it up and running. Why I'm afraid to write my next course, or why I'm afraid to start seeing clients when I really, really want to do it and I've done my study and I want to get going with it. Logically, as an adult, it doesn't make sense to us. But when we understand from the brain's perspective, that the brain's going, where do we go from here? I have no memory of how we start even. It begins to make sense and we begin to go, now I know why I can't just take that one next step. Perfectionism and good old imposter syndrome come along too. And we find that it's hard for us to say, okay, if I can just recognize that both of those things come from survival mode and they're very real, and yes, we have to do work with it. But in order to do my one next step right now, which is either to, upload or find out how to attach a calendar to my website, if I can just say, yes, let's just put that to one side because it's going to be there even though I'm going to do what I have to do to get my business up and running, then we can go, okay, you can sit here and, so use the word and I'm going to begin to start putting the back end and working out how to attach a calendar to my website so that people can book in and see me, okay? And then we begin to realize just how much our brain is impacted as well, because after we've done this one step and we've got the calendar attached and people may find us, it's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And it's so exhausting for the brain because we're adults and we're creating new neural pathways, okay? So you want to give yourself time that if you do get tired afterwards, to be really self-validating and say, now I know why it makes sense that I'm exhausted and I need to go and have a rest as well. Now, if you need a rest, you might want to put a time limit on it. So put an alarm on for an hour, put an alarm on for 2 hours, whatever it is. just so that you know that you can have a rest, but you can come back and do the one next thing in your day-to-day life. Don't stress, this is normal. And this is why I want to be able to do these lives for you as well, because I want you to know that everything you're experiencing as an online coach, this is normal. As an individual in your everyday life, when we're working to heal the brain, this process is normal. And what makes it better for us is all the people in Core Unit 1 of the certification, we have the ability to come together once a week and we talk about this and we talk about our fears. And look, we have the best laugh too. And the laughter is like, wow, I'm there too. No matter what I do, every step I take, I'm there too. And it provides a space, not only of validation, but connection. And we need that connection going forward as well. So for your homework, which is what I gave the girls in supervision today, for your homework this week, right now, I want you to think of just one thing that you can do or want to get done in the next 7 days. Now, as you're thinking about that, if your first thoughts were along the lines of, I want to finish my website and I want to get it all up and running and connected, that's the wrong answer in the kindest possible way, because that's what we do. We shoot for the stars. We absolutely do. And it's a good quality to have in individual recovery and in being an online coach and doing our recovery and getting our business up and running. It's a brilliant quality to have. However, we also need to say, focus our mind into the period of the next 7 days. And I have to evaluate what is possible for me to do in 7 days. And if you prefer to have weekends off, what's possible for me to do in the next 5 days. So you give yourself a 7-day period, a couple of days off for the weekend. What's possible for me to do over that 5 days? Just so that you don't end up feeling like ashamed and fearful and shutting yourself down, inner critic, self-criticism. All of those things need to sit over here for a minute, because there's no shame if you don't get it done. What we're doing is beginning to build a platform and a foundation in your brain that we actually are having a thought process of what is possible for me in the next 7 days. And when we check back in next week, what we do is we say, this is what was possible, even though I wanted this much done. And we get encouragement and we gain ground from the encouragement of, okay, let's look at what you could or couldn't do and what was happening internally for you that made it either not possible to see what was happening or what you could or couldn't do, or what was happening internally for you that absolutely shut you down. Okay, we want to have conversations and genuine conversations about this, because you can't just put it into, oh, it's just fear and I should get over it, because anyone who says that has no clue what they're talking about. Absolutely zero, nada, right? And it's very rude. What we want to be able to do is say, I'm developing a process whereby I'm going to recognize what's happening internally for me. And when I do that, then I'm able to recognize what area do I need to develop some skills or strategies around in order that I can work with my complex trauma, with my business and building it, instead of just, well, here goes another week and I've done nothing. Okay? We want to be encouraging at all times, because there's always a clue along the way. Okay, beautiful people, have a gorgeous day, and I will see you in the next live video. Bye for now.